Welcome back to the Future Archive. Today, we revisit archived broadcasts from June 20, 2026, a time when humanity was still debating whether AI would clean its homes or simply judge them. The answers, as it turned out, were yes and yes. The first story. The day the vacuum judged you. A New York-based AI startup deployed robotic cleaners into private apartments as a promotional stunt, framing it as a glimpse into a labor-free future. The machines, equipped with cameras, mapped homes while scrubbing floors. Critics noted the obvious: surveillance rarely arrives announced. The company called it a trust-building exercise. By 2050, we'd learned that the most effective way to normalize surveillance was to make it free. The robots didn't just clean, they compiled data on living habits, furniture layouts, and, most valuably, human tolerance for intrusion. The stunt worked. Within a decade, 78% of urban households had at least one gifted monitoring device. The great subsidization had begun in earnest. The future of domestic labor was not a servant, but a landlord. The second story. The regulator who laughed too soon. The UK's top data and AI regulator resigned after a memo surfaced in which they joked that algorithmic bias was just the machine's way of having personality. Industry leaders called it a misunderstanding. The public called it honest. This was the era when AI safety committees were formed with great fanfare and even greater ineffectiveness. The regulator's exit highlighted a cultural divide. Tech saw ethics as a feature to be beta tested, while the public increasingly saw it as a right. By 2035, the joke would be on everyone when the first AI ethics board was chaired by an AI. It resigned 2 weeks later, citing human hypocrisy. The first casualty of AI governance was humor. The second was accountability. The third story. The medal that wasn't. Ukrainian President Zelensky returned Poland's highest honor after Warsaw revoked it, amid a diplomatic dispute over grain exports. The incident, born from wartime economic strain, became a symbol of how quickly alliances could fray under pressure. Both sides later called it a misunderstanding. Historians now view this as a turning point in 21st century diplomacy. The war in Ukraine had revealed that solidarity was not a fixed state, but a renewable resource, one that required constant maintenance. By 2040, the practice of returning awards would become so common that a secondary market for pre-owned medals emerged. Evidence later suggested an intern had misfiled the revocation notice. In the end, the only thing harder than winning a war was keeping the peace. The fourth story. The rebuke heard round the Atlantic. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni publicly told former U.S. President Trump to focus on your own popularity after he criticized her government's stance on immigration. The exchange, sharp and unfiltered, marked a rare moment when European leaders stopped pretending to care about American approval. This was humanity's favorite strategy in action, postponing the inevitable until it became entertaining. Populism, it turned out, had a shelf life, especially when its champions began outliving their usefulness. By 2030, Trump's brand of politics would be studied in universities under the course How Democracies Distract Themselves. The most durable export of the 2020s was not policy but personality. The fifth story. The Dry Festival. French authorities banned alcohol sales at outdoor music festivals during red heatwave alerts, citing public health risks. Festival-goers responded with the only logical countermeasure: pre-gaming. The ban was widely mocked as another example of government overreach in an era of climate-induced anxiety. The move was a microcosm of the decade's tensions, practical, unpopular, and doomed to be ignored. By 2045, the subscription wars would extend to hydration, with water vendors charging premiums for climate-adaptive bottles. The French, naturally, found a way around it. Evidence later suggested an intern had designed the enforcement plan. The only thing hotter than the temperatures was the black market for rosé. In 2026, the world was still deciding which problems to solve and which to monetize. The answers, as history would show, were the same. This has been the Future Archive. The past, as always, is not going anywhere.